Greetings, what's up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding, in fact the stars are nearly shining, and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 vs 1 battle, fresh from the ladder, featuring spawning in the west, it's going to be the United States forces of PSG Redxwings. And spawning in the east, it's going to be the Wehrmacht forces of Zimmer. The map today, for our delectation, amusement and enjoyment, is going to be Kolodny Farmer Winter. Yes, we'll have to see what these two players, both new to the channel, can bring to us. I'm going to be using, for this video, some new recording software. Rather than using what I have been doing so far, shadow play, and then doing some stuff and then uploading it, I'm going to be using OBS here. So we'll have to see if the game and the video and the capture quality and so on is going to be as smooth. I've had a fiddle with the settings and I think it all looks nice. So this is something of a test cast, just kind of getting into a new piece of software and seeing if it can match the setup that I was used to before. Because the thing about OBS is it is a little bit more flexible, and in terms of pardon me. In terms of doing some co-casting and some stuff like that coming up later, OBS may well actually be more beneficial. So we're going to give it a go. We're going to see what happens. So seemingly, let's have a looky here. Redxwings is going to be doing the good old rear echelon spam. Good times for him. Of course, the rear echelon for the American troops. How much do they cost? Yeah, 200. So pretty cheap there. These rear echelons going to find an MG42. Seems like Zimmer, he's gone for the mechanized assault doctrine straight off the bat. So if you're not familiar with this commander yet, just hit pause on the YouTube channel and you can overview these abilities at your leisure. Safe to say that the mechanized assault doctrine is what I like to call a transformational commander, insofar as it opens the door to completely different playstyles and army compositions that other commanders don't let you have. So whereas some commanders just kind of augment what you're doing, this commander definitely allows you to transform and play with a completely different style by giving you access, of course, to several different units and so forth. Let's see now. Wow. Very quick fuel cache coming down here for the American player. PSG Redxwings showing no fear. He's going to go for a reasonably greedy build, laying down the investment already for a fuel cache in his backfield. This MG42 at the moment just kind of keeping the rear echelons back, and there's no other real combat. So let's take this moment to crack the tactical map and get an overview on the situation. Looks like we've got one squad of assault grenadiers. They don't tend to be spammed too much. They're not actually that good of a unit, and they don't scale at all well into the late game. But they can definitely get some work done, so let's see if we can catch them in action here. It looks like they've found some rear echelons that they're going to try and chase down. Not sure if they're going to pursue for long or if they're just going to hold position on this point and get the capture done. Looks like they are going to do that. Squad of Grenadiers coming on out here for Zimmer, going to be flanking his MG, which is just south of the screen right now. They're actually taking a little bit of fire, moving across the open from these rear echelons. That is a little clumsy. They should perhaps have just kind of gotten into some cover somewhere, and that way they could have avoided taking some damage, but it's a very minor point, and of course they far outperform the rear echelons in a fight, so they're going to take that handily even still. These assault grenadiers going to be picking a fight from heavy cover. They're hosing down these rear echelons. They could move forward into this cover here or even get into this heavy cover here. That would maximize their DPS. They do have the short range, high rate of fire weaponry. And it looks like these Grenadiers now are beginning to take some losses. Their attrition and mounting up as they take on squad after squad of these rear echelons. They've already forced back one squad, the last man of which here, just falling back on the camera there. Looks like these Grenadiers are going to be bolstered by the arrival of another squad. And let's check the tech here for the Wehrmacht player, because sometimes, okay, so he's escalating to battle phase 1 just now. Sometimes, if you go for this mechanized assault doctrine, Wehrmacht players can do some pretty weird stuff and rely on some pretty atypical builds, especially insofar as their tech goes. You can kind of try to skip Battle Phase 2 and the Support Armor Corps and rely on the Stug E call-in here and then the Tiger in the late game. It's a pretty brave thing to do, but if you're comfortable with it and you're well practiced, it can definitely be a serviceable tactic. So we'll have to see if that's going to be the plan for Zimmer as we move forwards here. He's putting on a lot of pressure. If you look at the minimap, Axis units advancing heavily. We've got a unit of Pioneers here, upgraded with a flamethrower. They're going to get up on the grill of these rear echelon troops and start roasting and toasting some Yanks here. And that's going to be issues, actually. If they get into this building, that will give them quite the range. Here we go, and then they could probably, start roasting these guys. Now, we do have some Pathfinders on the field. I always have to pause for a second there. Are these the INR ones, or are these just the Pathfinders? Of course, these are just the Pathfinders. So the Elite Marksman Long-Range Infantry Scouting Unit here, coming out for the Americans, that's afforded to him, of course, by the fact that he's gone for the Airborne Company, who, just press pause quickly if you want to see that. There we go. I'm going to frame this battle, because that's far more important. Lieutenant's also on the field with his BAR. And that, it seems, is going to be enough to turn the tide here. And the Axis player going to exfiltrate here all of his squads in good order. Seems like we've got it's the utility car going to be coming on out for the American player, so that seems to be the tech of choice. The Lieutenant, of course, gives you access to that, the 50 cal, and having a memory blank here gives you access to that. Oh, and of course the AA half-track. Damn, how can I forget these things? Woof. So he's going to have access to those units, and it seems like the utility car going to be the tech of choice. I guess I like this. I mean, it matches up well against all these units you can see. It also brings a Zook onto the field, which is never useless. I think I would have preferred an AA half track. He has the fuel for it. Maybe he wanted to save on the manpower. I'm not quite sure, because it seems like he's running quite low on that. But pardon me. Seemingly the scoreline pretty even. The Axis player, Zimmer, just pulling ahead, owning as he does 2-1 victory points against this American player. And I don't know, I kind of feel like it's on Redwings to make something happen here. The resources favouring the Axis player, 26 fuel, 53 munitions respectively for Zimmer over the 23 and 21 for the American player. So definitely pulling ahead at this stage, despite the fuel cache. In fact, no wait, sorry, the fuel cache is actually, that's 29 over 26. Yeah, so the fuel cache actually swinging it for the American player. Anyway, Greyhound's going to hit the front here. The extended armor add-on has been purchased in good time, so it's ready for this fight. Grenadier's going to take a lunge here, looking for the Faust, and they're going to get it. I feel like Redwings could have just moved this one back a little bit, and he would have avoided that Faust. That means that this utility car is now stricken. Grenadier's going to exfiltrate as this Lieutenant gets up in their face, and these Assault Grenadiers also pouring in some damage. I think the Lieutenant may have to get out of here. Another Faust coming down, and there's actually a possible squad wipe going here. If the Lieutenant decides to focus this guy, the utility car also has put some damage on him. He's on 1 pixel, and this is an LMG-42 equipped squad of Grenadiers. That could have been quite a big wipe, but seemingly Zimmer is going to get away with that one, and that squad's going to be able to fight another day. Crew's going to hop out out of the utility car and start repairing it. Standard stuff there for the American player, and seems like we have got a 3/4 ton ambulance coming our way. Let's check the tech here for the Axis player quickly. The Leichter Mechanized Company is online. No sign yet of Battle Phase 2, and I would be slightly surprised to see it. It's an option right now. It's very early to commit to that option. Wow, squad of rear echelons here getting... No, sorry, that was the Lieutenant squad getting wiped as an MG42 gets into a nice position. 222 scout car on the field. Out of that Leichter Mechanized Company. Going to force some smoke out the utility car, but he's going to come on through, find the crew, and... Whoa, is the Lieutenant driving that? Oh, so, okay, this was the vehicle crew that got mowed down here. You can see their bazooka. It was the Lieutenant driving the utility car. Oh my god, Americans. They can just, obviously, they can just change, put units in and out of their vehicles, so it can be quite hard to keep track of. And anyway, yeah, these Pioneers going to get on up. They might have a squad wipe going here, especially if this 222 decides to chase, which it really ought to do, because picking up these rear echelons would be a really nice thing here for the Axis player. There's an MG42 here also just out of arc, and seemingly, actually, wow, these rear echelons going to escape crossing negative cover under fire from that 222, so kind of good stuff there. American forces pressing in the south. We've got a number of squads being led by these elite Pathfinders. These Assault Grenadiers actually have been afforded the opportunity to get right on up to these Pathfinders. The American player, I think, should have started kiting a lot earlier there. Look at the DPS, and that's a pretty cost-effective engage there for those Assault Grenadiers, so good times for the Axis player. A couple of squads of Grenadiers going to come across to bolster this as well. They'll be able to push away these forces here, and getting some work done here is Redwings, able to chew up some ground, but it is kind of a temporary state of affairs. Axis forces responding in good order, and they're going to be able to take this ground back. So, the fuel income here, though, he's got double fuel and a cache, plus 39 for the American player. My god, his teching is going to be super stim, like, it's going to be accelerated massively. 16 of the fuel income, so more than double fuel income right now for the American player. And I'm also excited to see what he's going to do with this airborne commander that he's gone for. I haven't seen him putting down any of the little beacons or anything like that. What are they actually called? The ones that yeah, they're just called beacons. Okay, that the Pathfinders can put down. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you guys out there. Like, the American forces are definitely the team that I'm the least familiar with. I enjoy playing with them. I just don't enjoy playing with them as much as I prefer playing with the British forces or even the Soviet forces. So I tend to pick those factions when I play Allied, which means that, yeah, I think definitely my knowledge with the Americans is pretty much the weakest. I should hit up some ladder games with them, actually. I should hit up some ladder games. It's been a while since I've played American. And when I did play as American, one thing that does feel very natural for me is that if you're very good at having a lot of multitasking and unit awareness, if you're like very good at being everywhere, as it were, you can really get a lot out of the American forces. They have a lot more micro potential and a lot more just actions available to them, and options for creative play as well. They also get some really spicy aggressive tools, which I really miss using, like the AA half-track coming out so early and getting stuff done. The Stuart as well is a joy to use. So I digress. I'll turn my attention back to the battlefield now, but suffice to say, I've just figured out that I miss playing as Americans. Anyway, rear echelon troops here, they've got a Zook, they're going to push away this 222, getting a nice hit there as they do. And let's see, Battle Phase 2 has been researched. Okay, so it looks like Zimmer has got designs on either going straight to Battle Tech 3, which I think would be unusual, or he's going to throw down a support armor corps, look to get out a regular Stug, or a Panzer IV or the Ostwind. But again, that seems slightly odd. Let's see where he's going with it before I make any judgments, but it does seem like a slightly odd choice given the commander he's got and the situation he's in. Anyway, squad of Grenadiers here, they're going to kind of get overrun. Lieutenant at long range, rifle grenade comes down, but it's a good dodge from the American player, takes some shrapnel damage here, but not going to lose any models. And a couple of Grenadier squads getting some work done. That's going to push back these rear echelons, and the LMG-42 Grenadiers do fantastic damage, although he's going to have to be careful with this one man. This area here, warning to all players out there, when you're playing on Kolodny Farmer, this area here, if you're playing on the eastern spawn, has a notorious fallback path here, which is super bad for you. If you fall back here, you have to run all the way up to the middle of the map and then this way, and given that the player who spawns in the west often has a lot of units in this area, this can be a bit of a hard point for them. We've got the building here as a nice choke, and it's a natural place to have a lot of your units. You can take a lot of squad wipes if you fight in this area and then press fallback, so pardon me. Warning to all players out there about using the fallback in that area. So seemingly we've got some kind of American air activity on the loose. These rear echelons do have a lot of Zooks, which is nice times for them. I guess that means that weapon rack research has come down. Yeah, it has. So weapon racks has been researched. Now we've got some. These are paratroopers. They've got the Tommy upgrade, has been taken. Getting a horrendous squad wipe on some Grenadiers before the Assault Grenadiers are able to see them off. And that's a bitter loss there for the Axis player, who so far has been pretty decent with his unit conservation. He's going to have to spend the 240 manpower to replace that straight away, which he can afford to do at this point, but obviously he'd rather hold on to that manpower. So Redxwings there, getting a nice pickup. There was some veterancy on that unit as well, and I believe it had an LMG-42, so quite some resources being squandered there. Good to see 9 kills and 2 stars of veterancy on a unit of Assault Grenadiers as well. It's just not often I get to see these guys play, and if I'm honest, I think that they need some kind of attention to make them a little bit better, because they just feel quite like a limited squad to me, and especially one that costs more than your average squad of Grenadiers. Anyway, there's a 222 here in backup. These Assault Grenadiers somehow managed to make it all the way across the open whilst being shot in the rear and advancing into a whole ton of American troops. They get a grenade barrage down into this building. That forces back some Pathfinders, does some damage to the rear echelons. The 222 is going to go down. MG-42 in a nice position is going to cause this lieutenant to have to fall back. And on the back of that fight, I don't know, I kind of feel like that was still a win for the American player. Yeah, he took some losses, but he was able to take out the 222, and the 222 was the only real mobile unit for the Axis player. That was the only thing enabling him to control the field. And I feel like with this infantry outfit here that you see in the top right, these units here, I feel like these units for the American player on the top left will easily be able to bully them in a standard engagement without the mobility of that 222 to probe for weaknesses and strike in areas where the American player doesn't have any forces. I feel like the force capability for the Axis player has been reduced significantly, but we'll have to see. He might decide to replace it or go for something else. He's probably actually not going to replace it, saving as he probably is. For an armoured unit, does he have the support armour core? Yep, support armour core has been thrown, so seems like Tab Zimmer doesn't really like the Stug Light, the Stug E here. And he's going to be putting his faith in some more regular armoured units, which kind of begs the question, I don't know, it just doesn't really feel like he's really gotten very much value for money out of choosing this commander. I mean, he's called in 1 unit of Assault Grenadiers, and that's kind of been it so far, so yeah, interesting choice. We'll have to see what happens. Obviously he took it early to get out that early unit of Assault Grenadiers, and to their credit, they have actually been quite good this game, so anyway, that Grenadier just taking a zoot to the face. Ouch, never what you want. That is very unlucky. And we've got an engagement up here in the north as these paratroopers. Whoa, he needs to get the fast fallback on these Grenadiers. The fallback comes just in the nick of time, but a couple of other Grenadiers are still going to get picked off. My god, the damage on those paratroopers absolutely brutal, securing themselves 2 stars of veterancy there. Nasty stuff. We've got another scuffle developing here, more Grenadiers being forced back. The Allied infantry really now beginning to enter its prime. It's got a few stars of veterancy, and it's starting to make these Axis units, the Wehrmacht ones in particular, because they're 4 men, look pretty fragile. Panzer IV, though, going to be the weapon of choice here for Tab Zimmer, so he's foregone using the Stug Light, the option provided by his commander. He's invested in Battle Phase 2, he's invested in the Support Armour Corps, now he's going to invest in a Panzer IV, and there's a lot riding on this unit right now. He really needs to get it to do something, because this is kind of the culmination of his entire tech path. It really is his money unit. That's where all his money is. So we're going to have to see what he's going to get done. He's kind of falling behind a little bit in terms of army size as well. 46 for the American player in terms of supply, over 38. So We'll have to see. Assault Grenadier is going to run around the corner and find this 3-star Lieutenant on negative cover. Ouch, they're also in negative cover, but they're actually going to take the fight. The Lieutenant has to fall back. Oh, that for a second I thought they might get a squad wipe there, but that Lieutenant is going to sneak away. But, I mean, those Assault Grenadiers are actually performing quite well. Now, it's worth pointing out that the American player does find himself at 267 score under 451 in the victory point count, so he is behind by almost 200 tickets. A precarious situation to find himself in. And it looks like moving forwards, that's probably going to be Tab Zimmer's plan, just to try and push his opponent out of the game on score. I suppose that's a bit of a non-thing to say, really, seeing as how that's always your plan in this game. But anyway, Grenade's going to come down. MG42's going to get hit. Only one man goes down. MG42 probably not going to suppress these paratroopers in time, and they're going to have to get out of there, which they do. Paratroopers, they do ferocious damage, and they were in heavy cover there, so no chance of being suppressed anytime soon. Panzer IV now on the field, the pintle-mounted MG42 upgrade coming down in a timely manner, which is just going to finish right now. That's going to enable this Panzer IV to push this American infantry around quite a lot. And here it comes, sledging into mid. Now there is an M1 anti-tank gun set up in a nice position, and he's just going to take a hit there. That hurts, that rather does sting. Never what you want, but I guess now he has free reign. He knows where his opponent's AT gun is, so he can come over here for a bit more damage. Grenadiers also pushing in the south, and Pioneers pushing towards the north. So, yeah, things looking pretty good, I guess, for the Axis player. There's a Jackson on the production queue, and that, of course, indicates that, that the Major is here, which... where is he? So actually the Major's just chilling in the base. A lot of the American units chilling in the base. A couple of units here really want to get back out there. But yeah, Jackson going to be the tech of choice here for Redwings, and I like that. Obviously it's incredibly potent, and it's a very hard counter for any armoured units like this Panzer IV. So yeah, I like the choice here, and he still has pretty good fuel income at plus 23, so he can make another armoured choice soon. Although the Axis player actually exceeding him in that regard, and the fuel cache which he built early on in the backfield, that has been taken out. So the resource situation not as favourable as it once was for our USF player PSG Redwings. The Jackson's going to come on into a nice position. The American player does know where the Panzer IV is, or approximately, because he did just now see it. We've got a fight being taken here. LMG-42 Grenadiers slicing in from the south. They're going to find a number of exposed infantry targets, and with some good focused firing here, he can pick them down. If I were he, I would probably prioritise these Pathfinders. The damage on them pretty high. These rear echelons kind of a bit meh when it comes to actually dealing damage. Rifle grenade going to come down into this position here. Wow, I didn't see these American forces swooping in from the rear. These Grenadiers now look pretty stricken, and the fullback needs to come down. There it goes. They should be able to exfiltrate safely there. Assault Grenadiers still getting work done. Oh my god, actually, they can probably push aside these rear echelons, and there's a soft M1 at the back here, which is totally exposed without that. The Panzer IV, I hope, is being repaired behind this. I'll check in a second. The Jackson's going to come forward to try and shove these infantry around. There we go. And that's going to force the fallback. Possibility of a squad wipe here, but very unlikely. We'll see if the Jackson, no, he's going to set it to target vehicle, so no shot will be forthcoming. Panzer IV getting some work done, and it is indeed being repaired. But of course, the Wehrmacht engineers take quite a long time to repair, so this Panzer IV looking a bit exposed, and these paratroopers just saw where it was, so if the Jackson feels like getting involved, it can, and it's probably worth just putting the Jackson here and taking some shots. Why not? That's what I'd do. Did the American player? Yeah, so the M1 anti-tank gun just fine. And the situation looking really good for Redwings right now. Yeah, he's behind on score, and he's still under the clock, actually. Still bleeding under the gun here in terms of the victory points. He needs to address that ASAP. He needs to just split off a squad and send it one to the south, one to the north, and just take those victory points, because, you know, he's well ahead in terms of his board position, I think. Like, I don't know, this army for the American player looks a lot better than this army for the Axis player, although, I don't know, maybe they're more similar than I gave them credit for, actually, because these are Grenadiers, and the Assault Grenadiers kind of match up against all these rear echelons. It's just the Pathfinders, the Paratroopers, and the Lieutenant that kind of worry me. There's an MG42 on the field to try and control them, but if they get up around that, or if they manage to get an engagement where the MG42's not involved, these Grenadiers aren't going to last 2 seconds, so that could be problematic for the Axis player. I also feel like the Panzer IV is totally covered by the Jackson and the M1 anti-tank gun. So, I don't know. Let's see what the Axis player is able to make happen as he makes a move out here to the south. He's also got a squad of Pioneers moving up to the north here. They're going to find these rear echelons and probably get shoved aside, unfortunately. 3-star rear echelons have 5 members in the squad. That's one of their veterancy upgrades, actually, for those of you who didn't know. As you vet up your rear echelons, you get 1 more man in the squad. And yeah, these Pioneers just going to have to get out. Paratroopers, of course, more than enough. And so it seems like we've got a confrontation down here in the south. Some Grenadiers going to find this Jackson, force it back for fear of Fausts, and that's going to enable the Axis player to get some capping done down here, which is just as well. He's going to lose this northern victory point, and if he's smart, he should be grabbing the southern one. Looks like he's going to stick around and grab the munitions point first. He has the ability to call in. Is this the light arty? Yeah. So the light arty barrage is available to him. These paratroopers running down this pack, but the Panzer IV is going to come back just in time to save it. Jackson gets a lovely shot in there. Boom! Hooning a shell in. That Jackson tank destroyer, like, it is like eye-watering. It's a really good unit. Well microed, it's just fantastic. There's a lot of skill that can be displayed by Jackson. Because they're so fragile and they do nothing to infantry, Jacksons are like one of those real skill differentiators. A Jackson in the hands of a like really good American player is like a completely different animal to one in the hands of a mere mortal. So anyway, American forces are going to be pushing, looking resurgent across the map. We've got some assault grenadiers kind of just taking a run up to these rear echelons. They should be able to push back the echelons. Yeah, there we go. And they are in heavy cover here, so they may be able to get some damage onto these paratroopers, although the range hardly ideal there. The paratroopers are going to garrison this building at the back, and they're just going to whittle these grenadiers down. Although capture work is being done. The unit of Panzer Grenadiers coming on out, the Panzer Shrek upgrade already done, and that's a really nice choice. That's going to enable him to push this Jackson around a bit, which is going to give the Panzer IV a bit more room. So far it's only got 5 kills, though nearly 1 level of veterancy, so it's kind of done okay for itself, but not exactly great. Regular Sherman on the build queue right now for the American player. That's going to be entering the field shortly, and I like that choice. The Sherman's just a good all-rounder. Obviously you've got the ammo types that you can choose from. Loading high explosive can be a really punishing move against the 4-man Axis squads, and of course the armor-piercing shells are really quite sexy against this Panzer IV. So we'll have to see how he uses it. I imagine he'll set it to explosive rounds and use it in conjunction with the Jackson to keep the Panzer IV away whilst mopping up the Axis infantry. That seems to me to be the optimal play. Here it is now. Looks like the 50 cal Pintle mount upgrade coming down in good time there for the American player. Let's just quickly check the tech for the Axis player. We've got nothing suspicious going on. Nope, no sign of Tech 3. And of course that would be really weird. He's just a little he's just a little manpower away from getting out a Tiger tank here. Just needs to save up to 640. And then the battlefield will look very different, as we will have that Axis heavy tank on the field. Fight being taken right up here in the north. Keep an eye on that one on the mini-map. I want to frame this fight right now in the south as the Jackson's going to engage this Panzer IV. Gets a couple of good hits. The Panzer IV down to half health. Tries for an attack round through this line of sight blocker. No hit forthcoming there, luckily for the Axis player. And the MG42 going to be all that's needed to cover that one. Grenadiers are waiting here in case the Jackson decided to pursue. They would have gotten it fast and wisely. The American player is going to back out of that. He wants nothing to do with that. This Sherman has pushed away the Axis forces that were up here, I believe. Yeah, here they are falling back, so no squad wipes were incurred there for the Axis player. And I kind of really like this this force composition. He's going to call in the Tiger as soon as he sees the buttons illuminated. And I really like this this composition for the Axis player. The Panzer Grenadiers have made this into a much more robust infantry lineup, and there have been no more elite infantry squads coming up for the American player, so I do quite like this. Let's see where the Major is positioned right now. Looks like he's out being active on the map. Rather than, I mean, a lot of American players like to put him around about here and just use him as a forward fallback position, but seemingly Redxwings are not of that breed, and he's going to be pushing forward here. The LMG42 combined with the assault grenade is actually going to make 3 Axis squads fall back. I mean, I can see why he fell back there, but it's kind of a little bit of a shame, and these paratroopers are kind of making themselves scarce. Here comes the Tiger, pintle-mounted MG42, again coming down in good time, so both players really on top of their vehicle upgrades there. Of course, they both have the munitions for it, and they're pretty efficient upgrades. Looks like these paratroopers are fed up of lurking. They know they're not going to get a very good engage, and they're just going to try and get out of here. Exfiltrate as intact as possible, which it turns out is not that intact. A Tiger tank is going to have something to say about that, killing 3 of them as they try to retreat, so harsh losses inflicted on that squad. But Redxwings, his manpower is in a reasonable state right now, so he should be able to sustain that. This Sherman, now repaired by its crew, gonna look to get something done. The Jackson also wheeling round, and I feel like the American player needs like 1 more anti-tank piece, because he's got a Jackson, the Sherman, and the AT gun. I imagine the Sherman is loaded on, it's loaded on high explosive right now. Ooh. I mean, I know it's firing at infantry, but yeah, he knows the Axis player has to be angling for an armor fight, and yep, here we go. The Tiger can just smash through these line of sight blockers. So, I don't know. Dangerous stuff. Anyway, the Jackson and the M1 find a fantastic angle on this Tiger tank, which is going to have to make itself scarce. Taking a few hits, even this bazooka chipping in some damage. The Jackson gets another hooning blow in there. The thing you have to remember about the Jackson, it does have superlative velocity and penetration on its round, but it also hits for like a whopping amount of damage. I think something in my head is telling me it does 200 damage per round. Now, I may be way off on that, but anyway, it does more damage than your average AT round. So pretty punishing. Is this Sherman still set to high explosive? It is. Ooh, okay. Axis infantry gonna be able to hold the south here, but for this last phase of play, Redwings has been out from under the clock. In fact, it's been going against the Axis player, and the score gap down now to just 105 tickets. So actually, Redwings doing some good work in catching up, and this Tiger tank hasn't nearly affected the momentum of the battle as much as I thought it would. It's kind of just come along, got pushed away, and is now sitting around not being repaired, which kind of makes it a liability. Panzer IV is going to get some work done. That thing nearly at 2-star veterancy. Crucial, of course, because that increases its survivability dramatically, enables you to use it in a much more aggressive fashion. So yeah, Panzer IV here, just kind of chilling. Again, that one needs repairs. So is he going to split his pioneers, or where are the other pioneers? Oh, he lost them? Oh, I see. He's lost his second squad of pioneers, so he's replacing them just now, which he, luckily enough, can afford to do. Going to find some American infantry here, force them back with the Tiger. Needs to be careful, yeah. Here comes the Jackson again, just angling for a shot here. So let's see. Yep, okay, right. He's going to leave it there. I mean, the Jackson is one of those units which needs to be well supported in terms of forward spotting and flanking prevention. So sending it in against this Tiger tank obviously would have been suicide. So glad to see the American player knows better than that. Got a second Sherman. Wait. Yeah, that is. Yeah, second Sherman joining the field. The other thing about casting the Americans is when they pop their vehicle crews out of their vehicles, the vehicle disappears from the lineup. So I was just like, oh, it's a second Sherman, and then I looked up here and there's only one Sherman icon, and I was like, hang on. But yeah, it is indeed a second Sherman, which is, again, a really nice choice. Those Shermans can load the AP rounds, and they do good damage. There's an argument here for saying that second Sherman should have been a Jackson, but I think either way, actually. I think I can see the arguments both ways, and I'm just going to defer to PSG Redwings' judgment on this one. If he thinks the Sherman's a better choice, I'm prepared to accept that. And the Tiger tank now being repaired by a double Pioneer squad, so that one's going to be back on the field reasonably soon. That's good times. Then this Panzer IV is going to need repairs as well. Looks like we've got Zimmer, Wehrmacht sniper, reporting for duty. Yeah, we're going to see that one coming out, and that is traditionally a really strong choice against the USF. They don't really have the counters that the Soviet forces have for the sniper, and they can struggle with it. But that's in the early game, and now we're quite late. So interesting to see the sniper come on at this time. Clearly Zimmer just was thinking to himself that he had some manpower, and now it looks like we're going to have a big fight, a big American push here. AT gun moving up, and the Sherman, the P-50, whatever they are, what are they called? The P-47 rocket strike going to come on down and get some great damage on this Tiger tank. The AT gun has gone down though. Looks like this Jackson's going to try and punch through, and it gets the final hit on that Tiger. My goodness, I didn't think that was going to kill it. Damn, they do a lot of damage. Now there's a Sherman here on low health. If this Panzer can maneuver for a shot, he can get the killing blow, but the Jackson has him in arc. The advantage of having a turret on your tank destroyer, boom, plinks down the Panzer IV. Easy stuff for the Jackson. This is what it was born for, and it looks like Zimmer has seen enough. Wow, PSG Redwings there, swinging in. He came in like a wrecking ball, a real sledgehammer move there. He just, he sensed that, he sensed that now was the right time to strike, and I've got to be honest, I don't know what the sign was there, but he came forward with a good wall of infantry, the anti-tank gun. I thought it had died, but actually it was just the outline of an MG. But anyway, this anti-tank gun forcing the issue, and the Jackson was able to get right up on top of the Tiger. I feel like the positioning of the armour for the Axis player was all over the place, and the target firing was kind of non-existent, so he was really taken off guard by that push there. And in combination with the P-47 rocket strafe, which is a really powerful vehicle for policing Axis armour. Yeah, PSG Redwings there, putting together almost like a one-punch KO. Bam! Because up until then, I felt like that game was really even, but what a move! What a move. So anyway, yeah, a well-orchestrated assault there. Going to bring this replay to a conclusion. Hope you all enjoyed it, and of course I'll be looking to bring you some more stuff very soon. I've been working on a couple of co-casts with GG the Machine. We put together some reasonably advanced tech for for a Deserts of Karak cast. That's the new Homeworld game. So we co-casted a few games between the two top players in that game, and there's no replays in that game though, so we had to like cobble together a setup. But I think you're really going to like it. GG the Machine's got mad video editing skills, and he's going to put together something really nice. So I'll be able to bring you that soon. I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy it. I know it's not Company of Heroes 2, and I know that's what a lot of people are here for, but I am going to branch out a little bit into some other games. But don't worry, the Company of Hero 2 content is going to keep coming. And speaking of which, yeah, this weekend I should be casting some of the ESL Cups, possibly even the NA one as well. Details on that still being sorted out, but I'll bring you that as soon as I can. And possibly even a little bit of a retro spree. We're going to be playing some Dawn of War 2 at some point as well. Just because Dawn of War 2 is an awesome game, Warhammer 40k is a fantastic universe, and the playstyle quite similar, of course, because it's developed by Relic to this. And so yeah, anyway, those are the things on the horizon, and that will conclude this video. Thank you very much for watching, and this is Magpie842 signing out, which he's got to have because he's using new software. What is the button for sign out? Oh, here it is. Okay, so Magpie842 signing out. That was so professional.